Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the latest situation. What do you think this lockdown can achieve, if indeed it does go ahead and it stays uninterrupted?
The lockdown imposed for 9 days rather by the pro-independence fighters like you earlier indicated. They have been fighting for the independence of the former British colony, Southern Cameroon, is for three major reasons. In solidarity with the leaders of the Anglophone movement who are due to appear in court today, Sisiko Ayutabi and Co. They are expected before judges of the military tribunal that's going to be in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, today. Another objective is to sabotage the organization of the 11th of February celebration that's going to be taking place in just a few days from now. The whole notion behind the sabotage of the 11th, or frustrate the celebration of the 11th of February, is to disassociate themselves with this celebration, which to them is a mistake.
Remind our listeners what the celebration is about as well.
The 11th of February celebration was actually the day that Southern Cameroonians voted to reunite with La Republic of Cameroon, the Republic of Cameroon, which is now the name of the country, the Republic of Cameroon. So the 11th of February, on the 11th of February, Southern Cameroonians voted to join their brothers of the Republic of Cameroon, and this day was normally supposed to be celebrated as Independence or Reunification Day,
and the lockdown
but it's now been called the Youth Day. An indication that this day has actually been scripted out, Independence Day, which according to critics and those fighting for independence of the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon even believe that was illegal because on paper it's not even existing.
And the lockdown is meant to disrupt that. I'm just wondering, in your work, you talk to ordinary people, especially in English-speaking regions. There's been so much conflict already, so much suffering in the day-to-day lives of the people. A shutdown like this, a shutdown of businesses, of daily life, isn't that going to increase the suffering of the people? What is their reaction to the developments?
Of course, the consequences are devastating. We have sporadic gunshots. The stay-home policy reinforced. We have the blocking of roads. It's impossible for people to circulate. Activities paralyzed, particularly economic and even educational activities practically paralyzed in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. This has been going on for 3 years now, and the more the passes, we have the impression that the situation is getting worse and worse by day.
Do people blame both sides? Because again, there have been abuses reported by the government forces, but also by the rebels. How are people reacting to both? Because at the end of the day, it's their lives that are being affected.
They would not say they are rebels. They would call themselves pro-independence fighters fighting for the independence of the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. This is a movement that was before led by the moderate voices like Barrister Agbobala, Dr. Fontaine-Naba, who were held and thrown in jail, and the situation has been deteriorating with the passing of each day, like Ayla indicated, and they went to the streets with peace plans, and up to now we saw them being, those that were protesting peacefully, being shot by forces of law and order were deployed on the field. And on a daily basis we see more deployment of security forces in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon, the government of Cameroon taking similar measures to resolve the crisis. So we have the impression, like civil society actors would say, political actors in Cameroon, like Edith Kawala, we have Christopher Fomenyo, we have the Social Democratic Front, we have the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party that have been giving solutions to the Anglophone crisis that are still to be taken into consideration by the government of Cameroon. The government would say that they have taken a series of measures to resolve this crisis, like the creation of the Disarmament Commission, the Bilingualism Commission. They've taken a series of measures so far, and the liberation of the 289 prisoners. But up to now, the situation is not changing. Dialogue is the way out.
It is, and unfortunately, of course, as you were saying, we're nowhere near close to that scenario of a dialogue. Mimi Meffo, many thanks for joining us. Mimi, the English language editor-in-chief of Equinox TV, based in Bamenda, joining us live in Douala, joining us live in the Newsday studio. Great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.